I do not own the character. Disney does. Hello, welcome to my channel, Midnight Contemplations. Today I have done a speed drawing of Tessa from Star Darlings, which is a now cancelled Disney show. With Tessa, I remember absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. I didn't actually know she was in the show either. I was very surprised when in the about pages of the wiki, she was just there and I was like, who is this? I've never seen this before. Who is it? It is actually very confusing. And the reason for this is there are way too many characters. I'm sorry, but 12 is just way too much to really keep a hold of in a way that would be meaningful. It's also like this show was meant for very young children, I'm saying around 7 or 6, and they're not going to be able to remember all these characters at all. It's just too many, especially considering not all of them have like equal role within the show. And like in the 12 episodes that I think existed, she was there as a background character for like one. And that's really just the problem with it, is that they're making too many characters. And I'm not sure why, because apparently they weren't meant to be zodiac signs in the first place. So they could have just left it at 6 if they weren't going for the zodiac sign thing, and it would have been fine. And honestly, it would have been much better, because if you have 6 characters, you have more time to give them personality and to give them motivation and background. With 12, it becomes sort of, you just have to pick and choose your characters, or you just make them all 2-dimensional. And it's not even just the fact that it has a big cast. There are some shows with big casts that are honestly amazing and mind-blowing. One example being Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of my absolute favourites for this sort of thing. Like, you know all the characters, you know that Zuko is, well, he's an anti-hero for the most part, but you can see him change and develop over time. You know that Aang is like just this positive little, who's just sunshine. And you know that about all of them. You know who Azula is, you know who May is, you know everything about these characters, even though it's such a large cast of characters that's honestly sometimes hard to keep up. But you know who everyone is, and they're all different looking and different sounding, and you know what character they have. That's the important part with big casts. You have to have time to sort of develop them all into characters where you can be like, oh, so that's the demented father figure, or gymnast girl who helps Azula, and you know that. The thing is that that show is also meant for children, so in the end it sort of just becomes character building is important. That's one thing I will always harp on with all of these shows, character building. It doesn't matter if the plot is terrible if I want to stay with your characters, because that's honestly how a lot of shows grip me. It's not the plot is usually not that great, but if the characters are good, I'll stick around just to see what happens. Another example of this is She-Ra and the Princess. But yeah, She-Ra and the Princess of Power is a Netflix original. It's not the greatest, but I like it. It's a guilty pleasure. And it also has actually a huge cast. I'm just thinking about this, and it does have a very large cast. There are 3 main characters, then these 6 other princess people. Then we have all the villain people, so we have the Lonnie, Rogelio, and Kyle, and then we have Catra, we have Shadow Weaver, we have Rodak, and we have Double Trouble now as well. That's a lot of characters, and there's others that I haven't even said in that list. There's a lot of people going on. Yet it still works. You still know who each of them are, and yeah. So it's just the thing with this sort of writing, I guess I sort of expected it to be like a full show, and it actually was. I believe that there was at least a season of the show before it stopped airing, so I'm not really sure what exactly they were waiting for. I think they were just using an excuse, oh, it's a children's show, the children don't know about character building, but they do. You can tell when a character feels flat. children can tell. And one of the other things I don't like about this character is just she's basically the epitome of they're really running out of character design and colours. Let's start talking about the colours. The colours are not good at all. You can just tell that at this point they're really losing it. So she has like a dark blue sweater top thing, and she also has sea green hair with streaks of blue in it. Now we already have two characters who wear we have one character who wears the dark blue, that's Vega. We have one character who wears the sea green, and that's someone. I have no memory of them, honestly. I'm so bad at this. So it's questionable, honestly. Like, what? So at this point you can definitely tell that they're running out of character designs. Like, this character is probably the most boring design, I think. Because the next two, I think they're alright. Not good, but better than this. The problem is I can't tell if this has anything to do with the character. If I remember correctly, she's meant to be a good cook. Or that could be someone else, but I'm not sure. It's a problem with not watching the show. But I think she was in like a cooking episode, or she was teaching someone how to cook something at some point. So that was the thing. And this doesn't strike me as someone who cooks. I don't know. She strikes me as a librarian. As like a bookworm. Not even a bookworm. It's hard to say what I think of her. It's just that she looks so plain and normal and boring, almost. And like, I don't really understand what's going on with her hair. It's sea green, but it also has streaks of blue. Did she dye in the blue? Does that just happen in these characters? I can't tell. That's a problem. Another thing with the character design is that she's just very plain compared to the rest. And honestly, because of her colours and the colour choices, she cannot stand next to two of the other characters because they would quite obviously overpower her. And it's also just, they could have just changed her colours, and that's the problem. They could have changed it into something a little bit more noticeable. Like, I'm trying to think of colours that they haven't used yet. And honestly, they've used them all, and that's a problem. That's one of the problems with this show, is that they're going too colour-coded. There are a lot of shows that have, like, colour-coded characters, things like, especially magical girl shows. I'm trying to think of magical girl shows. Winx Club. Yeah, that's probably the only one I can think of at this exact moment, but yeah, there's a lot of magical girl shows with, like, colour-codedness, but at least in those, it's like, there's only 4 or 5 characters, and we have more than 4 or 5 colours, so it works out. But here, they're trying to go too colour-coded. They could have just made a few tweaks to this and just have them, like, not be as colour-coded, so then people will know who they are. But no. Honestly, I don't know why, but I feel like this series is sort of really telling me all about, like, how Disney is doing their character design for younger children's shows. It isn't good. Now, just so this isn't all doom and gloom, I am saying that these characters are noticeable. They're very noticeable, very out there. Especially characters like Leona. Leona is definitely one of the characters that's very out there. And very, like, big in the way that she does things. So, yeah. And, like, I feel like if they just kept it to, like, the main 6 or 7 even, it would have worked out. I just think that they went a little bit too far, stretching it to 12. Anyway, onto the drawing. Honestly, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good, in my opinion. It's... How do I say this? It's the style, I think I've gotten better at this style. That's the thing. Is that before I used to be spending around 2 hours on one of these pieces. Sage was like the longest, around 2.5 hours. Not even 2.5. Actually, no, that was like an hour and a half. Yeah. And now I've sort of gone down to 45 minutes around, which I'm quite proud of, honestly. It's a thing that I quite like. Yeah. Another thing is that I fixed the resolution, yay! I'm just incredibly happy about that because honestly, that needed to be fixed so long ago. But I finally found the method, even though I only have 3 drawings left with this method, so I'm kind of sad, but there's always going to be other shows. Anyway, a quick note about what I'm going to be doing next in this series, I guess, is, well, I'm thinking on doing more like challenge sort of videos. So if you ever heard of the 3 marker challenge, etc., I might be trying to do those. I might also do other shows because I like watching TV shows a lot. Let's see, what else? Not much else. Thank you for watching, all of you. That's very kind of you. Please come back to watch more episodes of this series and continue supporting me. It really helps. Thank you. Bye.